best, but what do you make of the general immaturity that we're talking about there, Stugotz, where you've got a team that wants to be ready to knock off the Warriors, wants badly for there to be the feeling of a rivalry with the Warriors. They just beat the Warriors. The Warriors lose to everybody on the road. That team's not winning the championship this year. That whole thing has expired. They're not going to be able to win the West. But what do you make after or while they're losing at Memphis? Klay Thompson is still going to the move that's an argument ender, which he's just counting with his fingers. 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 championships.
Pathetic.
You have Dillon Brooks.
Yeah.
It's enough
It's
already.
the ultimate scoreboard.
No, it's not. Every time you get hammered, Golden State, like they
On the
literally
road.
lose by 14 against Golden State, or against Memphis, and you're doing the 1, 2, 3, 4 thing, like they're a 500 team this year. You cannot lean on your championships every time. I think it is the absolutely lamest retort. Doing the champion, we're losing. We're losing, but we won the war. Like enough.
You
Beat
can
somebody
lean-
on the day.
You can lean on the championships as long as you're leaning on a guy who doesn't have any championships. You could still go to that until he wins a championship. That's all he's doing. I think he said who's going to talk about Dillon Brooks when his career is over. We don't know that.
No, he said no one will talk about Dillon Brooks when he's retired.
Can I ask you a question? Who's talking about Klay Thompson after his career is over?
God, come
oh,
on.
get out of
Stop that.
here.
Stugotz, what are you kidding
Oh,
me?
you're going to sit around 25 years from now talking about Klay
Stugotz,
Thompson?
he's
the best shooting guard of all time.
But in Stugotz's
You'll talk about
defense,
Steph.
yes.
You'll talk about Draymond. You'll talk about Steve
You're not going
Kerr.
to talk about Klay Thompson, one of the best two-way players we've ever seen?
No.
I agree that 20 years from now, it'll be Steph Curry, Kevin Durant that we'll really think back on those Warriors.
Guys,
I'm not
hold
saying we
on a
won't
second.
say
Hold on.
he's James Worthy.
Hold on. You guys quit.
Big game James.
We talk about
What are
James
you-
Worthy.
What are you on about?
You guys are
Right.
being
We
really
throw him into a
James Worthy's
conversation.
conversation.
He's one of the guys that will be talked about with this team, but he's clearly behind Durant and Steph. I mean, he's played on a deep team. I'm with
He's
you.
he's behind Steph.
You're
I
with
don't.
Stugotz on what?
that Klay Thompson might in history be overlooked with this dominant team. I just don't think he's not the first name you're going to say.
He's one of the fair enough. He's with an immortal who's the best shooter ever.
And that's what Stu's saying.
But wait a minute.
And Draymond.
We didn't forget Scottie Pippen.
Wait a minute.
We didn't forget Scottie Pippen.
What does a person have to do if winning 4 championships and being one of the best shooters ever is Stugotz still saying who the hell is Klay Thompson?
Not play with Steph. I mean,
Okay. Yeah, it's just
Scottie Pippen never did it by him. He's Scottie Pippen.
Durant's his Pippen. Durant
No.
is
He's not the
Curry's
Klay-
Pippen.
he
Kevin Durant
was the-
jumped in after they won 73 games. They won 73
Well,
games.
thank you for
But the
finally
way it was
coming
in-
around.
As the co-star.
But the way it was in the news and the way it was covered, I'm just like 30 years from now, the way we're going to look
It's always
back on
been
these
Steph and
teams.
Klay. It's always been the Splash Brothers. It's the two
Scotty
of them.
was a definitive number 2. The number
Klay
2
Thompson
was
is the number 2.
no. Well, Kevin Durant became the number 2,
Yes,
or the
and
number
Klay
1,
got
and then
hurt.
Steph became a number 2.
they won 4.
Yeah,
4.
yeah.
Durant
heard you.
doesn't have any, according to you, and 2 when he went there.
Yeah.
Like-
One without Klay, though, right?
Klay Thompson is not Andrew Bogut.
I don't know what you're doing.
Like,
I'm just saying, Dan, we're not going to sit around. I agree. No one's going to sit around talking about Dillon
Stugotz,
Brooks when he retires.
He's one of the top 100 players ever. He was right to be hurt that he wasn't among the top 50 or top 75. He was hurt by that because he knows what his status is. Like, you got to be shitting me that you're not willing to extend some respect to one of the greatest shooters ever.
I'm not-
indisputably.
I'm willing to extend respect. He is a great shooter. I'm just saying, when you and I are sitting on the porch 20 years from now discussing the NBA, it's going to be a long time before Klay Thompson's name come up.
You know
and
what?
I have no idea why I
I'll
had
come
me
around.
and you on a porch
You
still
guys
talking
are
stop
sports.
I am
that.
so with
Guys.
Stugotz on this. You guys
You're
are
gonna
living
punch
in
me
the
in the
moment.
face. I
Like
mean-
you're naming like 30 years from now on some championship team, like you guys are naming every play. Like Klay, he flies under the
Klay was
radar.
second.
always
It's
Steph and
not-
Klay.
Klay is not just any player. He's not Harrison Barnes. He's not Andre Iguodala. He is not like the role play. He was the
Honestly,
co-star.
Iguodala with those MVPs.
Yep.
When we look
Hey,
back 30
no,
years from
no,
now,
hey,
Come on,
Yeah.
man.
I'm not
Come
sitting.
on.
You guys, you
We'll
guys are.
say, can you believe it? Iguodala won the MVP
guys
of
are
the
just-
finals of that team?
You guys are
Right.
just doing this thing where you're dismissing it without even like
No.
having the debate.
Chris,
We're not saying that he's
Chris,
not a great shooter. We're not saying that he's
listen.
not
That's
a
all we
main
ask you
reason
to
for
do.
their success. We're just saying because of how he's not a flashy, polarizing guy that years from now, 30 years from now, you might say Andre Iguodala before you even say Klay.
I have to be honest. When I threw it out there, I did not think I would have an ally, but thank you.
And let me explain something to you. If 20 years, my future, if we're looking into my future and I'm sitting on a porch with Stugotz, it's only because I've taken an overdosed amount of pills. Like, I will be so unhappy with my life.
I'll be thrilled.
But can we